March 5th, 2024 council meeting of the Smithfield Town Council to order. If you would, please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Smithfield Town Council. First item on the agenda is going to be a closed session. Mr. Reddick.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, we need a motion to go into a closed session for the purpose of discussing actual or potential litigation pursuant to 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Smith. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Councilman Collins. Further discussion? Would you call the roll, please, ma'am?
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbs?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be in closed session. I don't think it'll be very long whatsoever. Don't run off because it won't be long. Correct, Counselor? That's right. Thank you. We'll be right back.
sir.
deviated from that?
No, sir.
All right. The next item that we have will be public comments. I have one individual for public comments, Mr. Greg Vasilakos. Mr. Vasilakos?
Thank you. Very great. You do a great job of pronouncing my name, Mayor Bowman. Rhymes with I love
You can back
tacos.
off from that one. That one works really well.
Okay, I'll stand back a bit. Okay, yeah, I'm Greg Vasilakos.
Good to have you here.
What, excuse me?
I said good to have you here.
It's good to be here, thank you. I used to live across the road from Ms. Amy, from her grandparents, but now I live on Talbot Drive. Okay, I came here tonight because I had sent some emails to members of the town council regarding an idea for a cut-through, bike and pedestrian cut-through at Fairview Parkway to the Windsor Castle Park area. And I just want to thank the members of the town council. Several of you responded to me and explained the difficulties that you've already broached the idea with VDOT, and they have not been cooperatives. But I thank you for your efforts, and I thank you for your communications with me. And I encourage you to look for other areas like that where there could be simple improvements made for pedestrian and bike mobility. And I'll throw out two of them. One is the idea of putting a pedestrian walk cycle on the light at Battery Park Road and South Church Street. And another one that I think might work out well, at the end of Colonial Avenue, there's a cul-de-sac. This is, if there could be a cut through for pedestrians and bikes put through behind where the DMV is going, that would allow people from Wellington Estates to get to the Food Lion shopping center area without going on South Church Street, and likewise people from Smithfield Boulevard to get to the bike trail without going along South Church Street. So anyways, with that, I'd like to just thank you for this opportunity to address the council, and good night.
Good having you. Thank you very much, Mr. Vasilakos. Next item we have on the agenda, it's not actually on the agenda, it's been added, but it will not take long, but it's extremely important. The first is presentation for volunteers who conducted a control burn of Windsor Castle Park Longleaf Pine demonstration area. Amy?
Yes. We could have Mr. Bobby Klons, Mr. Henry McBurney, and Mr. Stanley Barlow come to the podium first, and then we'll have you come behind the mayor for pictures.
Do you want to go ahead and give a little bit of a rundown as to exactly what this was in case people had not
Sure.
had an opportunity to view this? It was very interesting and long awaited.
Yes, these volunteers have all helped with the longleaf pine from its inception to what you see today.
At Windsor Castle Park.
Yes, sir, at Windsor Castle Park, including the controlled burn. Mr. McBurney, can you say a little bit about this project and its importance?
Well, okay, the town council in actually 2014 voted to designate the southernmost 3.5 areas of the park and to convert it to longleaf pines. It came to fruition in 2019, so it was somewhat delayed. One of our previous mayor, Carter Williams, was the driving force behind that. The configuration and arrangement and the decisions made were made jointly by the town, the council, Department of Conservation and Recreation, Bobby Klons, who represents a nature conservancy, and the Virginia Department of Forestry. And the Virginia Department of Forestry provided a lot of assistance. They provided funding for studies, and they also provided all the trees for free. I was kind of instrumental in rounding up volunteers to actually poke them in the ground, Stanley Barlow and myself. And in the ensuing years, we planted over 4,200 trees in the park. As part of the process, in returning this iconic tree species to the area, it also has a vibrant, unique ecosystem on the understory, because as the trees mature, the more sunlight reaches the ground. So it has a much more vibrant ecosystem that Bobby could address a lot better than I could. And what supports that ecosystem is periodic fires that burn the the invasive, the unfriendly organisms that don't survive fire well are replaced by organisms that are either fire dependent or the fire benefits them. So the town made the decision back in 2019, right in this chamber, to employ, if we're going to bring the trees back, try to bring the ecosystem back accompanied. So the burn last week was the first step in that direction, and it was very successful. So that's kind of the history on it, real quick.
Well, thank you, Mr. McBurney. I know I was there, Vice Mayor Butler was there, Councilman Brooks were there, and I know some other folks tried to make it, but we're tied up with conflicts. But I just want to tell you, I've been to a lot of different briefings, and a lot of different logistical things through my career, and I've never seen one done just as professional as the briefing that you conducted prior to the actual burn, Mr. Clance. You had everything, every detail down, right down to it, and you had Stanley and the volunteers and everybody lined up. So it was really a good team effort, and it was very, very obvious from my observation that everybody knew what they were doing and did a great job. So I want to thank you for that. So at this time, would you?
Gentlemen, can you come up here right around our town clerk? So we get this town seal in the back.
You're going to read the presentation?
You're on
I didn't expect all this, man.
Oh, come on out.
Come on up, y'all. Not shy. I know Henry's The first one is to Mr. Henry McBurney. Dear Henry McBurney, we want the right to express our sincere appreciation for all the countless hours you have poured into the Longleaf Pines demonstration areas in Windsor Castle Park. You have assembled volunteers, cured trees, worked with other agencies, spent hours in research, and personally tended to these seedlings, plantings, and trees, including the controlled burn that you helped coordinate and perform. Your efforts have made this project a great success story for the park and the town. On behalf of the Smithfield Town Council and staff, we thank you for your hard work and time invested in this process. Thank you, sir. The next is to Mr. Bobby Klotz. We wanted to write and express our sincere appreciation for you providing the controlled burn services for Windsor Castle Park Longleaf Pine area. We saw firsthand how much effort and coordination it took to bring the various groups together, as well as getting Mother Nature to behave to make sure the burn happened timely and safely. Your knowledge and professionalism make our park projects the successes that they are. On behalf of the Smithfield Town Council and staff, we thank you for the hard work and time invested in this process. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Mr. Stanley Barlow. Dear Stanley, we want to write and express our sincere appreciation for all the countless hours you've committed to the Longleaf Pine demonstration areas in the Windsor Castle Park. You have personally tended to these seedlings, plantings, and trees, as well as participating in the controlled burn. Your efforts have made this project a great success story for the park and town. On behalf of the Smithfield Town Council and staff, we thank you for the hard work and time invested in this process. Thank you very much, sir.
One quick picture with you over here, Mayor. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it so much. Can you go to the podium for this one for me? The next presentation is by Amy, and it's in reference to the George Athens building contractor of the Windsor Castle Park Bridge Renovation Project, and I believe the gentleman from Athens Building has a presentation as well.
I do.
Can we go ahead?
George, if you'd come up. George would like to present a
Bring
very
your whole
special
team.
gift for
Yes,
us.
sir, up to the
Yes.
podium, please.
Yes. Hi, if I
The
may.
podium's yours.
Thank you. Mr. Stephen Jones, he's our
Jones?
corporate secretary and probably the most knowledgeable construction individual in the East Coast. We have Mr. Alex Teeter here. He's in charge of our maintenance team, and he does special projects, mostly JOC stuff. And this is my youngest son, Christos Avgeros. He just joined us a few weeks ago after shoulder injury. I'm George F. Jarris with Athens Building Corp., and we want to thank the town of Smithfield for welcoming us here, letting us into your home, and let us show you our workmanship. We work all throughout Virginia, Maryland, other states, and very few places touch us the way your people, your townspeople did. And we feel like we want to give something back to the town from our hearts for working here, and we want to be part of your community. So we're offering a $25,000 check to the town towards Amy's efforts and the bridge project. And we want to remain in your hearts and minds for a long time because you've touched us that much. So thank you.
Well, we thank you. Amy, do you have any comments?
I do.
Please.
I don't often enjoy working with contractors. I actually probably I don't have a good reputation with them, but George has made that experience totally different. The Windsor Castle footbridge renovations are spectacular. And every time that I have a concern or we need to change something, he's on it. He makes me feel comfortable with my choice, and then we move on from there. It's good work. Thank you, George.
Thank you.
Logistically, I'll make things a little bit better. Come over here. Amy, good?
Amy, please.
Can we have my big check?
Yes, you take your check.
Thank you.
Got it?
Thank you, folks,
Thank you
so much. Thank you.
Much
Thank you,
appreciated.
gentlemen. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
You will. Good job.
Amy, keep doing what you're doing. We love working here.
Good, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You keep bringing checks, you can keep counting.
We might have to do that.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night. Yes, sir. Next item on the agenda is presentation on the progress of the new Riverside Hospital.
And Mayor, I apologize, we don't have our big screen tonight. We're gonna have to work with this little screen. And if you'll tell me when to advance, I'll do that for you.
Oh, okay, this
Yeah,
won't
we're
work.
having
Okay,
technical
all right.
I know who you are, but do me a favor.
I
Please
am
introduce
absolutely
yourself
gonna
to the
introduce
folks
myself.
and also your team member that's here with you.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, Mayor Bowman and Vice Mayor Butler and members of the Town Council. My name is Jessica Macalino, and I am the hospital president for Riverside Smithfield Hospital. And I'm joined today by Mr. Mike Doucette, our Vice President of Support Services for the health system, and we are delighted to be here with you all today to share an update on the hospital. Before I get started, though, I did just want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of you for your continued support throughout this entire process. We greatly appreciate the partnership, and we're looking forward to continuing to partner with you all to serve our community. Okay, got it, okay. So I thought I'd start with just a little bit of background on Riverside as a health system. We are a not-for-profit health system that serves the southeastern area of Virginia. We employ over 9,500 team members across various different divisions. We have 4 acute care hospitals, soon to be 5 with the addition of Smithfield, and we have 3 specialty hospitals. We have our Riverside Mental Health and Recovery Hospital in Hampton, our Riverside Rehabilitation Hospital in Yorktown, and our Select Medical and Specialty Hospital in Newport News. We also have a comprehensive lifelong health division that includes nursing homes, assisted living and skilled nursing facilities, home health, and our physical therapy clinics, as well as our 2 wellness centers. We also have a very large medical group. We have pretty much all specialties represented across our medical group, so it's about 100 practices and over 700 providers. And we also have a College of Health Careers located in Newport News. We have been serving the Isle of Wight and Surrey County communities since our inception in 1915. We've continued to expand services over the years. We currently have primary care and assisted living in the area, as well as skilled nursing, rehab, physical therapy, and diagnostic services. We also just recently started providing the athletic training for all of the Isle of Wight County public high schools. And we have, in the last 2 years, we've served over 12,000 residents at a Riverside location, and over 3,000 patients annually travel to Riverside Regional Medical Center for either emergency or inpatient services. Next slide. So when we look at this community and when we looked at what this community needs, There's obviously significant and rapid growth happening here, which I don't have to tell you all that. But there's also a need from an age standpoint. There's a disproportionately higher rate of individuals over the age of 65 in this area. And we all know that they utilize healthcare at a higher rate than other age groups. We also know that thousands of people must travel more than 30 minutes to receive inpatient and emergency healthcare services. And because of these reasons, both Isle of Wight County and Surrey County are both designated as medically underserved, in addition to healthcare provider shortage areas. And these areas tend to see higher rates of things like diabetes, heart disease, stroke, untreated mental health issues, as well as late-stage cancers. And when we look at the percentage of patients who are discharged from Riverside Regional Medical Center in Newport News from this area, it's about 7% of total discharges, which is not an insignificant number. So when we look at all of this and when we took a step back and really thought through what the community needs, we made the decision to develop, you can go to the next slide, a $250 million medical campus that'll include both an inpatient hospital and a medical office building. And so what you see here is a rendering of what we like to say is the future of healthcare in Isle of Wight County. Next slide. The hospital size and location, so the hospital will be a 50-bed, about 200,000 square foot hospital on a little over 27 acres of land in the Ben's Church area. And our contractor that we're working with is Brassfield and Gorey. They're a company out of Alabama, and they have been incredible to work with, so we've been very pleased with them so far. Our hospital services will include a 14-room emergency department, 4 operating rooms, and 2 procedure rooms, in addition to a mix of intensive care unit beds as well as medical and surgical beds, and we'll have your standard diagnostic imaging, CT, MRI, and a fully comprehensive lab. In the medical office building, we'll have 40 exam rooms that will be located on the hospital campus, actually sharing a parking lot with the hospital, so very, very close to the facility. We'll have physical therapy services in that location, as well as other outpatient provider specialties like orthopedics, sports medicine, urology, neurology, cardiology, and vascular, as well as GI. And we're also looking at expanding primary care services into Smithfield, as well as opening up a women's health practice. And that contractor for the MOB was recently awarded, and that's a local contractor, WM Jordan, out of Newport News. And so our timeline for all of this, many of you were at our groundbreaking in July of 2023. It's hard to believe that we're coming up on a year from that date, but we broke ground on the hospital around that time, and then we will officially be breaking ground on the medical office building in the next couple of weeks. And that is actually scheduled to open about 8 months in advance of the hospital opening. So the goal is that we would have our first patient seen in the medical office building by the spring of 2025, and our first patient seen in the hospital as early as January 2026. And so this is just, I won't go through all of this, but something that we're really proud of. We took a very collaborative approach with both internal and external stakeholders to design the facility. Lots of lessons learned from facilities that we've built in the past, as well as just feedback and requests and desires that'll help make everyone's life a little bit easier in terms of caring for our patients and keeping our team members safe and our patients safe. And so just a couple of things that we took into consideration while designing the facility was planning for future growth. I've oftentimes heard when I tell people that we're building 50 beds, I've heard many times that that's not going to be enough, but that's what the state approved us for. So we have the ability to expand and grow as the demand continues, especially in areas like operating rooms in the emergency department and our non-invasive imaging areas where we typically see significant growth. Those areas are equipped to expand. We also have the infrastructure built in to also support the growth from a mechanical, electrical, and plumbing standpoint. We have made safety and security enhancements to ensure that our team members are safe. There's been a rise in workplace violence in healthcare workers, as there have been in other industries, and so ensuring that we are working to keep our team members and our patients safe. We learned a lot from the COVID pandemic. One of those things was around the need for storage space and ensuring we have adequate space as we move away from just-in-time delivery and really needing to have supplies on hand. Flexibility was important to us, so making sure that all of our beds are monitored, and that we have universal prep recovery rooms for our ORs and procedure rooms. The patient experience is incredibly important to us, making sure our kitchen was right sized for room service capabilities, incorporating natural light and organic elements to provide a healing and calming environment. And also making sure that there's enough space in patient rooms. So rather than having swinging doors that open, we opted for sliding doors. So things like that, when you get feedback from people who are either working in that environment or have been patients in that environment, those are things that make a big difference when you're in the hospital. And last but certainly not least, we have been so grateful for the partnership that we've had with our first responder teams, and they've been instrumental in helping us design the facility as well, specifically around our emergency department and entrance and exit points for their ambulances to try to make this as seamless as possible for them to get back into the community as quickly as possible. So we've been very grateful for their support and partnership. If you go to the next slide, these are just a couple of images that show what the inside of the hospital will look like. We've got videos, we have way more images, but the file was already too large for me to get over to you all, so this is all I could put in there. But I just wanted to give you all an idea of what the inside of the facility will look like. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Mike, who will give a construction update.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I'm Mike Doucette. I'm Vice President of Support Services. One of my areas is construction management. So Jessica asked me to tag along and give an update on the construction side of this. This is from a few weeks ago, and if you drive by the site now, you can see the second floor is already on. All of the steel will actually be on in place in the hospital by early spring, so it's coming up really well. Brassfield and Gorey is our general contractor, and this is their exclusive line of business is hospital construction. They built our hospital in York County, our rehab hospital. They're very, very good. They will not miss a timeline. What you see here is a lot of the under slab work that was done. They're laying the concrete in different quadrants, and as one of the quadrants is done and hardened, they go ahead and do the steel, and they haven't actually laid the concrete on all of the pad yet, so they're kind of doing it in phases. They're also working on the site plan work, so the stormwater drainage, the sidewalks, all the utility connections, all of that's being done at the same time in addition to the hospital site itself. And so you saw that the steel went up in February, but it should be done in just a few months. We'll have a final beam signing ceremony too this spring, and everybody will be invited to that. Next slide. This is an image, I don't know where we got this, but it was from 1965, and it showed what the original land use was there, and the sand and gravel operation actually extended almost to our property, and I think it was some of the laydown area for the sand and gravel, so that created kind of a unique situation. The soil was very loose in that area. And what looked like a field was actually very loose soil and sand pretty far down. So what we had to do was go back and underpin it with aggregate piers and rigid inclusions to shore up the foundation. So that's all been done now, but it's funny, when you look at the site, you think you just plow right in there and do it, but it was pretty loose. And you can see that's where they're putting in, so they put in, I forget, tens of these piers that went down 20 and 30 feet to shore up the site itself. But all of that's been done at this point. Next slide. And this is the steel going up now. We have some innovative construction techniques that we'll tell you about. We'd love to come back every few months and give you an update on it. Some hospitals are using prefabricated sections. There's different construction techniques that are speeding the process, making it more efficient. It's really changed in the last few years. They'll actually start filling in this section of the hospital before the final section is even started. So it kind of goes in phases, and you'll see that. And then right next to Route 10, the medical office building will start to go up, and that's the W. Jordan project. So that was it from me. Do you have any questions for me or Jessica?
Any questions by members of council? I was very, very pleased to hear about the potential for expansion. That was going to be one of my questions, and you hit right on it. So we know based on what we're seeing that that hopefully the state will accommodate the request to increase the size. Go through there. Any questions? Well, we really appreciate you coming down, and again, we'd love to have you again. Why don't you just keep up, I know that Vice Mayor Butler's on your board, and keep up with her, or keep in touch with her, and the time comes to have an update, we'd love to have you. So
Absolutely.
anyway,
We'd be
but
happy
again,
to.
thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you all for your support. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item that we have is the consent agenda items. Item number 1, C1, resolution to designate Smithfield Crime Prevention. That's Mr. Jim Collins.
Yes, yes. Before I put that resolution, I'd like to say thank you to Chief, everybody in your department that brought it to this point. And now the commitment starts. I know that this is a commitment between the community and your department to bring everything to this designation. So there's still a lot of work to be done. So thanks to those that have worked and thanks to those that are about to start some work. And with that, I'd like to propose the resolution to designate the Smithfield Crime Prevention Team to represent the town of Smithfield in the Certified Crime Prevention Community Program.
Thank you, sir. Item C2, naming the Windsor Castle Park Trails for former Mayor Williams. Vice Mayor Valerie Butler.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion naming the Windsor Castle Park Trails for former Mayor Williams, and this is the result of an extensive conversation that we had in our committee meeting on last Monday.
Okay, all right. That item has been now put on the table, so the chair will entertain a motion under the consent agenda items to take both agenda items.
We have one more.
There's one more.
Invoices.
Listen,
Oh, I'm sorry, invoices. I always get the finance away from that. Item C3, I'm sorry. So who will take that one?
Mike,
Mike,
you want to do
you
it?
take that?
I can do that, yeah.
Yes, sir,
sure.
please.
That's, I guess Randy's not here tonight,
He's
so.
not.
Anyway, the Civic Plus LLC website design is $20,619.14. And, also invoices over $20,000 is Robin Farmer Cox Associates, PLLC audit is $36,700. Move for this to be approved under the consent agenda.
Thank you. Any questions by members of council on the consent agenda items? The chair will entertain a motion on the consent agenda items.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the consent agenda items as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Smith. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Gibbs. Further discussion?
Mayor, if I may real quick, under the public comment section, I just want to bring attention, so we did receive an email from Mr. Bob Hines about the naming of the trails. It was provided to everybody via email as well as paper copies here in front of you. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that that was here.
I have read it.
Okay.
For sure. Motion made and second. Call the question.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbs?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes,
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. Next item is the action section. Item number 1, public hearing, special use permit, 607 South Church Street. Tammy Clary, Director of Planning and Community Development. Ms. Clary, good evening.
Yes, good evening, thank you. The applicant is seeking approval to utilize existing shipping containers as accessory structures. This would be at 607 South Church Street. Due to the recent changes in our zoning ordinance, a special use permit is required for the use of shipping containers located on this parcel currently zoned highway retail commercial. One shipping container is currently being used as VDOT's office for the Cypress Creek Bridge project. The additional shipping containers will be used to store materials and equipment for this project. Positives, this application is for the temporary use of shipping containers for the VDOT Cypress Creek Bridge repair. This is not a by right use and does require a special use permit. At the Tuesday, February 13th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting, this application was favorably recommended to Town Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Any questions by Ms. Clary? Is the applicant present or represented? Wish to be heard? All right, this is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to be heard on this matter? There seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any questions or comments by members of council?
I do have a question. This
Yes,
is-
sir,
this
Mr.
is-
Smith.
This is temporary, correct?
Yo,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Go ahead.
Yes, that is correct.
Did
It's
they give you a
just,
timeline?
It's for the duration of the Cypress
Okay.
Creek Bridge repair.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Matters before the council for action.
I make a motion to accept as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Brooks. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Mayor Butler. Further discussion? Call the question, please, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Butler,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbs,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Mayor Bowman.
Yes. Next item is public hearing, special use permit, 18420 Battery Park Road. Tammy Clary. Ms. Clary.
Yes, thank you. The applicant is seeking approval for a special use permit in accordance with the zoning ordinance, Article 3AC 36. This is for a waiver of parking and loading requirements. This is for approximately 12 additional gravel parking spaces. It's approximately 4,480 square feet of gravel that will be located in the east side of the church, and this will provide additional parking spaces for the attendees. As part of the same project, the applicants will pave the 2 entrances to the church off of Battery Park Road. Because Article 8B6A requires off-street parking to be constructed of all-weather stabilized dust-free surface with curb and guttering, the applicants must acquire a special use permit. The property does already feature gravel parking areas in the front of the church. Positive, this application will allow the applicant to provide additional parking spaces. It is not a by right use and does require a special use permit. Staff do suggest that approval is contingent on the applicants complying with any comments received from Isle of Wight County for their stormwater. At the Tuesday, February 13th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting, this application was favorably recommended to Town Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. Any questions by members of council for Ms. Clary? Thank you. Is the applicant present, represented, wish to be heard?
Yes.
Which,
I'm with Shovel Kings, and we are ready to move forward with the process of providing the church with additional parking for their members.
and what was your name again?
Angela Evans.
Are you a member of the church or are you an agent?
I'm with Shovel Kings. We are representing the church for the whole construction piece.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the agent, members of council? Thank you, ma'am. Anyone from the church wish to be heard? Anyone else in the public wish to be heard? Public hearing is now closed. Any comments, questions, further discussion by members of council? The chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the special use permit as presented and with the staff suggestions.
Motion made by Mr. Collins. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Gibbs. Further discussion?
With the understanding that the applicant abide by the comments received from Isle of Wight Stormwater. Just
Part of the
wanna-
motion. Do you accept that as part of the friendly amendment?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Call the question, please, ma'am.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
Mr. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Butler,
Yes.
Mr. Gibbs,
Yes.
Mayor Bowman.
Yes. Thank you all very much. The next item is public hearing boundary line adjustment. William Riddick, attorney at law.
Mr. Mayor and members of council, a public notice has been given for a public hearing tonight for a proposed boundary adjustment. The County of Isle of Wight has consented to and agreed to a boundary adjustment for 216.48 acres located off of Turner Drive. It's owned by one property owner. It's the Molly Turner Trust. Y'all have all received the map. The clerk said that one of the maps showed that, and maybe it was an earlier version, but the boundary line is actually going to be on the town side of Turner Drive. Initially, they had proposed down the center, and VDOT doesn't permit that, but it's on the town side. The Turner Drive will remain a county road, not a town road, just so you know that. But that's, this is the version of the map that's been, that will be submitted to the court. Tonight is is an opportunity for people to weigh in on this and offer their public comment. At the conclusion of your meeting, you need to, if you're amenable to this, authorize the mayor to execute. Is it the mayor? Yes, it's the mayor to execute the boundaries agreement with the county. This authorizes us to petition the circuit court for the boundary adjustment. It will be a joint petition filed by both the town and the county. The county has already had their public hearing and approved this. And I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions by members of council of Mr. Riddick? I can understand why they don't want it down the middle of the road. Chief of police and sheriff would want to fight as to who's gonna work an incident that may occur in the middle of Turner Drive. That's one reason they don't approve it.
Very good reason.
Any questions of Mr. Riddick? Thank you, Mr. Riddick. This is a public hearing. Anyone in the public wish to be heard on this matter, for or against? There seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Matters before council for discussion or action. And action.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept the boundary line adjustment as presented by our attorney.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
And that would be to authorize the mayor to execute the agreement on behalf of the town council. Correct, Mr. Smith?
Yes, that's correct.
Second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gibbs. Further discussion? Call the question, please, ma'am.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbs?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. I'm trying to make sure that I have the latest agenda. Next thing I have is approval of town council summary minutes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Riddick?
Mr. Mayor, I've reviewed the minutes from the last month's meeting and recommend that the minutes be approved as presented.
Questions of Mr. Riddick on the minutes? Chair will entertain a motion.
Move to accept the minutes as presented.
Motion made by Mr. Gibbs. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Mr. Collins.
I'm sorry, Mr. Collins. Second to the motion?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brooks. Further discussion? Call the question, please, ma'am.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbs?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. Next item is new business. Do we have any new business to entertain?
We do. And it
Mr.
was-
Riddick.
It was circulated on the, I think on one of the agendas, but anyhow, as council is well aware, the town has acquired properties on Great Spring Road at 204, 206, 208, and 210. These are the properties that were subject to flooding. The town was qualified for a grant from the federal government. We have acquired those 4 properties, but our consultant advised us yesterday, I believe, wasn't it, Mr. Stallings, that in order to qualify for the grant, we have to adopt a declaration of restrictive covenants that restricts the use of this property so that it can't be developed again. And these are FEMA guidelines. We don't really have much leeway as to what they say or what we can agree to, but we've read them. They basically preclude this from being used as residential property in the future and basically just be open space. And we need to adopt these and or authorize that they be executed so that we can submit the application to receive the money reimbursement. So that's what I would recommend to the town council.
Thank you, Mr. Riddick. Any questions of Mr. Riddick on this matter?
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, to accept the declaration of covenants and restrictions on lots of Great Spring Road in town of Smithfield, Holloway County, Virginia.
Does that authorize the mayor to sign it as well?
Yeah, that's fine.
Second.
Second by Mr. Collins. Further discussion on this matter?
One
Mr.
quick,
Stallings?
yes, sir. One quick comment. 600 Quail Street is still in limbo. The resident there has not made the decision on whether they're going to sell or stay put. Right now, it looks like stay put. If they elect to sell, then we'll have to come back and do this again for that parcel as well. So that's why it's not there.
Actually, had we known about this, we could have included these in the deeds, but
Right.
we didn't know until yesterday. And so if that happens, we will just include those restrictions in the deed from the property owner at the time.
But that's why that one is not included.
Further questions on that clarification by members of council? Further comments by council? We have
Have a
a motion and a second. Call the question.
Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Gibbs?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mayor Bowman?
Yes. Any other new business to come before council? Any old business to come before council by members of council? There seeing none, meeting is adjourned.